Here to discuss is Bloomberg News' national security reporter, Chris Strom, live in Washington. Chris, thanks so much for being here. You're a national security reporter. When you look around Washington right now, what does it look like to you?
The downtown Washington area is just on lockdown. A security net has just been draped over the city. So you have National Guard troops in the streets. Some of them are armed. You have law enforcement personnel. You have all kinds of different federal agencies, police forces from other jurisdictions. And so there is a massive, massive security presence. And the inauguration isn't going to look like anything that has looked like before. How big of a deal is this? I mean, put this into context for us. Here we are in America's capital. What's the symbolism here? Well, I mean, the symbolism is that you have an unprecedented lockdown, and you have the forces that would be going to war in the nation's capital, while there's a drawdown abroad in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's a buildup in Washington, D.C. And so, I mean, it's really amazing. And, you know, behind the scenes, you have this massive effort underway to try to track these plots and what extremists are planning. And law enforcement sources that I'm talking to say they feel pretty confident that nothing is going to get through the perimeter in Washington, D.C., where the inauguration will be. What they're worried about is attacks outside the perimeter and on soft targets, and especially in state capitals around the country. Chris, I want to get your thoughts on what we just heard from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at her weekly press conference. She announced that she's asked for a review into Capitol security, and if lawmakers aided in the attack, action may have to be taken. Give us your thoughts on what you heard from the speaker just now. Yeah, I think that's not too surprising given everything that we've been learning in the past week or so. There has been a number of revelations about how the siege on the Capitol was carried out, and the concerns that there were people either inside the Capitol Police Force or that there were sympathizers that were helping with the riot, and so. There's got to be a review, and that's what Pelosi is putting forward. There's a whole number of investigations that are now going to take place. There's the Capitol Police investigation, but also the Justice Department Inspector General announced that they're going to review what the FBI was doing, what they knew, how they, did they share information appropriately. The Defense Department watchdog is looking into this, and so there's a whole slew of investigations that are going to play out in the coming months. Chris, I just want to end with moving outside of Washington, D.C. We've heard reports that capitals around the country are advised to be on alert. What are you learning from your sources about how law enforcement will be present on Inauguration Day outside of Washington? Yeah, so law enforcement sources are telling us that they have notified their counterparts at the state and local level in key areas that they need to be on alert. Certain states are having their National Guard be activated. The FBI has identified, some specific states that have the most concern, like Michigan. You remember that there was a plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and execute her. So there's significant concern right now, and all of law enforcement across these state capitals are on high alert. Wow, yeah, it's hard to, just think back to that. It was just a few months ago with Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Wow. Bloomberg News' national security reporter, Chris Strom, live in Washington. Chris, thanks for taking the time.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.